Good morning. Am I audible? Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, thank you. So, did you go through the derivation which we did in yesterday's class? The derivation for wideband FM. Do you have any doubts here? As I told you, it is quite simple, only the manipulations you have to remember or practice. Okay. So here, uh, we went through this yesterday, so I'll not repeat the whole thing here. All this we had gone through. So let's continue from where we stopped. If you have any doubts, you please ask, so that if you want, I'll repeat. If there is nothing, I'll take up from where we stopped. Yeah, we derived this expression for the wideband FM signal, and we had to, from this expression, we have to write the spectral equation and draw the spectrum, right? So let's continue from here. I'll start off with this equation, and let's say to draw the spectrum of the wideband FM signal, we can say the same equation I will expand as FM of t AC. I'll go on substituting values for n. Let me substitute values for n as say -2, -1, 0, 1, 2. If we do for these 5 values, we'll be able to judge what would happen for the remaining values. So let me start with n as 0 here. AC. So it's a summation. I'll just put a plus sign there. N is 0, so J naught of beta cos omega c plus 0 into omega m. So that is 0. So this will be cos omega ct. When I have taken n as 0, the first term becomes this. Similarly, if I take n as 1, I'll get AC J1 of beta cos omega c plus 1 into omega m. So omega c plus omega m into t. Correct? Again, I'll take n as -1 next. So AC J minus 1 of beta cos omega c minus 1 into omega m. So minus omega m into t. Next you take n as 2. AC J2 of beta cos omega c plus 2 omega m into t. Next you take n as -2 AC J minus 2 of beta cos omega c minus 2 omega m into t. So on. I have many other terms. If I say n is equal to -3, n is equal to I can go on. I can take any values from -infinity to +infinity. Remember, we have n can range anywhere between -infinity to +infinity. Okay. So you just see from Bessel function table. Yesterday we did analysis of Bessel functions. So you can see here we wrote some properties. What was that second property? J minus n of beta is -1 to the power of n into Jn of beta. So we easily justified whenever n is odd, j minus n of beta becomes minus jn of beta, and whenever n is even, j minus n of beta becomes jn of beta. So let's substitute that condition here from property of, sorry, from property of Bessel functions. Yeah. So I'll say from property of Bessel functions, that is j minus n of beta is equal to minus 1 to the power of n jn of beta. This equation, I don't, what's the number? 16. Equation 16 becomes what? SFM of t is AC j naught of beta cos omega ct, no change in this first term, plus second term also remains as it is, AC j1 of beta cos omega c plus omega m into t, plus this is j minus 1 of beta. What will be the sign for j minus 1 of beta? N is odd here, right? Whenever n is odd, j minus n of beta becomes minus of jn of beta. So this should be with a minus sign. Minus j1 of beta cos omega c minus omega m into t. Okay. So we are just using this condition. That's all. So instead of j minus 1, it doesn't give a proper meaning. We are making it j1 by using this condition of Bessel functions, plus AC j2 of beta cos omega c plus 2 omega m into t, and again we have a j minus 2 of beta. N is even, so this will remain minus 1 to the power of even number. It will become a positive number. So AC j2 of beta cos omega c minus 2 omega m into t, and so on. This can go on from minus infinity to plus infinity, right? So we'll just consider these 5 functions, and let us try to plot the spectrum for these 5. So let's try to draw the spectrum. 1 second. Yes, start drawing the spectrum. What will happen here? This is 0. Okay, and the first term, see, for every cosine, you know, you have to draw 2 impulses, one towards the right of 0, another to the left of 0. Don't forget. And what should happen to the magnitudes? Magnitude will become whatever magnitude you have here, divide by 2. So use that condition. I need not write the spectral equation for each in terms of sum of impulse function. I told you from this time domain equation, you can directly start drawing the spectrum. So what is this frequency? I should mark first. It is frequency omega c. If you want, you can write fc only. Let us write in terms of fc. We know fc is 2 pi omega c. Here also I should mark minus fc. Remember, with every component, its mirror image will also come into picture. That's why two impulses. So one impulse at plus Fc, another at minus Fc, and what should be the magnitude of both? AC J naught of beta by 2. We have just AC J naught of beta here. Here it becomes AC J naught of beta by 2, both. Done. We are done with the first component. Now let's draw the second one. This is at the frequency omega c plus omega m, or in other words, it will be Fc plus Fm. So one component at Fc plus Fm, the other is at its mirror image, which will be minus Fc minus Fm. So again you draw two impulses, one here and one here. But one thing you should take care, here it's with a minus sign actually. So whenever it is with a minus sign, I told you it will actually come downwards. If you don't want to draw it downwards, then you have to take what? The magnitude spectrum of the FM signal, and not just the without the phase. So without considering the phase or without considering the negative sign. Otherwise, if I actually draw it, I should draw both these pointing downwards. See, both these should actually be like this, okay, rather than upwards. If I don't consider just the positive magnitudes, then both of them will come downwards. What is the magnitude of this signal? Sorry, this is I'm sorry. This is not with the negative sign. I'm taking the next one. So these are positive only. It's correct. See, we are drawing the second one here. Are you people there? You should point out these small mistakes. I was drawing the second one and I suddenly skipped to the third one. Okay, in the second one, it is just omega c plus omega m, or at Fc plus Fm, and the magnitude is positive. You can see the magnitude is positive. So we have drawn two impulses at Fc plus Fm and minus of Fc plus Fm, and the magnitude of these will be AC J1 beta by 2. Whatever magnitude you have in time domain, you should divide by 2. Okay. Next one is the third component, omega c minus omega m. So to draw omega c minus omega m, let me first mark that point Fc minus Fm and its mirror image minus Fc plus Fm. And as I told you, let me draw, instead of considering this magnitude spectrum, let me just draw, so SFM of F. If I just draw that, you'll see corresponding to this, you will get an impulse downwards. At both these places, you have impulse downwards or in the negative direction, and this will also have the magnitude AC J1 beta divided by 2. Okay. So if you don't consider the magnitude spectrum, you just see it will come downwards like this. So we are done with the third component. Next, we'll move on to the fourth component. This is at frequency omega c plus 2 omega m, which means what? Fc plus 2 Fm. Similarly, on the other side, Fc what? Minus Fc minus 2 Fm. And it has a positive amplitude, and it should be an impulse in the positive direction. And what is the magnitude of these impulses? The magnitude of these two impulses would be AC J2 of beta by 2. Whatever magnitude you have here, divide by 2. And the last one which we have here is at frequency what? Omega c minus 2 omega m, which means Fc minus 2 Fm, Fc minus 2 Fm. and it has a positive magnitude. So just draw another impulse here in the positive direction. So this represents the spectrum of the FM signal for just 5 components. We have taken n values from ranging from -2 to what? +2. What if I have to consider other n values? This goes on in both the directions. This can continue in both the directions. We haven't shown everything. Hope you understood this. So this goes on continuing in both the directions, and yeah, okay. I think because of that it was showing the screen wasn't bright. Any doubts with this spectrum? So now we have the spectrum. Can you tell me what would be the spectrum for when n is equal to 3? Even without writing the equation, you can go on writing. It will be at frequency Fc plus 3 Fm. The USB will be positive. You will get something like this. Whereas LSB will be in the negative direction at Fc. What is this? Minus Fc plus 3 Fm. And here Fc minus 3 Fm. You will see it will be in the negative direction because n is an odd value. Whenever n is an odd value, I will get the LSB as negative. See, LSBs, all these are lower side bands. All these above Fc are upper side bands. Yes or no? So, you can see that for alternating odd or even values of n, your LSB is going to come with negative amplitude. That is the nature of these Bessel functions. Whereas USB is always positive, LSB will become negative for every odd value of n. Okay. Anyway, now looking at this, can you judge and tell me what would be the bandwidth requirement of the FM signal? Look at the spectrum and tell me what is the overall bandwidth needed by the FM signal. Can somebody tell me? How do we calculate the bandwidth? Yes. Please remember, when you are calculating the bandwidth, these will go on up to infinity. Again, you have one more option. If you want, you can skip this whole negative part of the spectrum and draw only the positive part. And you can say this extends from minus infinity to plus infinity. So what is the overall bandwidth? And whenever you draw single-sided spectrum, you need not divide the magnitudes by 2. Is that clear? So how do I determine the bandwidth of FM signal, which is like this? Bandwidth of any signal is highest frequency component, yes or no, minus lowest frequency component in the spectrum, which is sent. Which is the highest frequency component which will be there in this? For n going up to plus infinity, the highest frequency component can be as large as infinity. So, ideally speaking, FM needs infinite bandwidth. But can you imagine any single signal being transmitted with such high bandwidth? If I am going to give infinite bandwidth to one transmission or for one signal, what is the point? How will I send all so many signals which are required to be transmitted? It's not just one communication which is happening, right? We have so many things traveling and so much of communication is happening. So this couldn't be the actual bandwidth which it couldn't be granted for FM. You please write one sentence. Okay. Since it is impossible, to have a single signal transmitted with infinite bandwidth, many people did lots of research, and a person named Carson was the name of the scientist who let's say discovered a rule to make FM transmission possible. If at all FM had to be given infinite bandwidth, then that scheme itself would have been what? Thrown away. You can't give any modulation scheme infinite bandwidth with one signal. So that scheme itself had to be thrown away if that was the case. But this person known as Carson, he came with a method to make FM transmission possible in reduced bandwidth. And according to Carson, please note down, higher order sinusoids in the Bessel function, or you can directly say just higher order sinusoids. The higher order sinusoids will have amplitudes that are insignificant. I can say that are insignificant or close to zero, can be approximated to zero. So these can be neglected. All the higher order components can be neglected, and I need not consider them during transmission. And for what value can we neglect? That is, Jn of beta can be considered as 0 for n greater than beta. Whenever n is greater than beta, you can make Jn of beta as 0. So only till n is equal to beta, I am going to consider the components in the frequency spectrum, and the higher order sidebands I am going to neglect. Is that clear? And this is possible only if we, and when we do this, you just say, when we do this, we will be transmitting only 98% of total FM power. So we won't be transmitting the FM signal completely when we do this. We'll be transmitting only 98% of the actual FM signal power. Okay, but that is more than sufficient for us to communicate effectively and also get back the signal at the receiver side. So sending 98% of FM power is more than sufficient. Okay. So using this condition, let us try to determine the bandwidth requirement of FM. You say, therefore, we'll say, using this condition, using the above condition, bandwidth of FM can be determined as what? BT, we will call it as transmission bandwidth of FM. I can say the highest frequency component. So if I draw one-sided spectrum here with Fc, I have one component. Say until n is equal to beta, I can have one sideband here, and correspondingly on the other side also until. So what would this frequency be? Fc plus what?
Beta FM.
Beta FM. Here also Fc minus beta FM. I'll have the component. Okay, till there I'm going to consider. This hasn't become exact center anyway. All the sidebands which are there till that range I'm going to consider. And above that I'm going to neglect because they have insignificant amplitudes. Their amplitudes are almost close to zero above that. So what should I do? The highest frequency component is Fc plus beta FM minus the lowest frequency component will be Fc minus beta FM. Bandwidth is always determined as highest frequency component minus lowest frequency component. So what would this result in? 2 beta into FM. Fc plus Fc and minus Fc cancels out. So this results in a magnitude 2 beta times FM, right? And actually this is the obtained result, but with experimentation, you just say, but with practical experimentation, Carson modified practical experimentation. Carson modified this relation slightly, modified the above relation to give the equation for bandwidth as 2 into 1 plus beta into FM. This is the standard equation which approximated the bandwidth more closely. Bandwidth occupancy of FM was approximated much more closely by adding this 1 instead of just having 2 beta FM. Carson experimented and checked, and he said if I add this 1, it gives a better approximation than simply retaining it as 2 beta FM. So this is the standard expression for bandwidth in FM signal, which is used everywhere. So though ideally FM occupies infinite bandwidth, practically they found even if I transmit 98% of power in the FM signal and neglect the higher order sidebands, I can send the signal and recover them properly. All of us have heard FM radio. Do you notice any discrepancy or any problem with the transmission? Nothing at all. So effective transmission is still possible even if we don't send 100% of the signal, and with that idea they experimented and they could be transmitting FM signals using this amount of bandwidth allocation. Is that clear? Again, this is one of the methods for bandwidth allocation. Okay, this method though commonly used slightly underestimates the FM bandwidth. So it is going to slightly underestimate, and whatever equation I have written here is for a single tone FM because we have a single frequency message signal FM. Whereas the same thing if I have to write, you say equation 17 can also be rewritten for a band limited band limited message with bandwidth W. Remember, band limited message means it would occupy a bandwidth of W. What do you remember? What did we call beta as for a band limited message? Does any one of you remember? This beta, which was delta F by FM for single tone, when we considered a band limited message like this, we called it as the deviation index or the deviation ratio D. This was given as delta F by W. Do you remember? This is for a band limited message and this beta was for a single tone message. Here the message had one frequency component. Here the message has multiple frequency components from 0 to W. Okay. So what should I replace beta with? The same equation. I will replace beta with D and I will replace FM with W. So both equations are exactly one and the same. Please remember, the only difference is beta is called the deviation index or deviation ratio whenever we make use of a band limited message signal. And the bandwidth of the message signal is W. Here single tone message means it is called modulation index beta and the frequency of that tone is FM. So I can find the bandwidth of any band limited message using this equation. Anyway, I was talking about what? Alternate method to determine FM bandwidth. So people weren't quite satisfied because this method slightly underestimates the bandwidth of FM signal. So they tried to come out with an alternate method. One of the prime scientists in that was Schwartz. He was one of the prime scientists who tried to come up with an alternate method. And according to all these scientists, they plotted something known as the universal curve. So they plotted a universal curve which would fit any kind of FM transmission for different values of beta and bandwidth. Let me show you how to draw that universal curve. Here, they made a experimentation table of beta and number of significant sidebands. Number of significant sidebands to be considered. N. How many sidebands I have to consider? Okay. So this table was made. So if beta is 0.1, only two sidebands. Can you tell me what did we call this as? We have already studied this case when beta is much less than 1.
Narrow band.
Narrow band FM.
Yes, narrow band FM. It had only two sidebands. Correct. Next, if beta is 0.3, you go up to 4 sidebands. If beta is 0.5, also 4 sidebands. If beta is 1, around 6 sidebands had to be transmitted. So on, this continued. Say for 2, it was 8 sidebands. For 5, it was 16. Here it multiplied. Then for 10, it was 28 sidebands. So on, they went and they said for different values, they checked what would happen. Sorry. Yeah, this went on and maybe 30, 70, 40 like that it will continue. And accordingly, this curve which they plotted had beta along the x-axis, okay, and the bandwidth divided by the deviation along the y-axis. The universal curve is a plot of BT by delta F, transmission bandwidth by delta F along y-axis and beta along x-axis. So it started somewhere like this, and this curve would fall and it would go on like this closely. It would be coming very close to the axis, and say at 0.1 radian, somewhere very close to this, it would be here at 1, 2 and all, somewhere close to that range. Okay, and 5, 10, it would go on like this. So we have how many significant sidebands n value that could be, that had to be transmitted for these beta values, and from this universal curve you could find what is the value of this bt by delta f, and from that you will be able to find bt. Okay, so we'll take one example. But even unfortunately, what happened, even this method, though this was a good method, unfortunately this method overestimated the bandwidth slightly. It overestimated FM bandwidth slightly. Therefore, usually a compromise between both methods is used. In the sense, usually they'll try to find average of BT calculation using both methods. Okay, so let's take an example and see how this works out. You just take an example. The standard FM transmission, standard FM radio transmission has maximum message frequency, as 15 kilohertz and a frequency deviation of 75 kilohertz. Also from the universal curve, BT by delta F value is 3.2 for standard FM transmission. Compare the two methods and find so in the first method, let's try to use Carson's rule. According to Carson's rule, BT is 2 into what? 1 plus beta into FM, or it can be written as 2 into 1 plus deviation ratio into W for a band limited signal. Here he has used a band limited signal. Instead of giving this D, he has given us delta F. So how do I find D? What is D? Or it's the same definition as beta. How do you define beta? delta F divided by Fm. Similarly, D is delta F, whatever max value, divided by W. How much would that be? 75 kilohertz divided by 15K. The highest frequency component is 15. This is 75. So I would get this deviation ratio as 5, right? So you got this deviation ratio as 5. Can you find the bandwidth now? Substitute it here and find the bandwidth. Yeah. 2 into 1 plus 5 into 15K. How much would this come to? Please calculate.
180 kilo.
1.
180.
Okay. 180 kilohertz. Okay. So this is the calculation using Carson's rule, method 1. From method 2, using the universal curve, what have they given? Using universal curve, they have given this Bt by delta F value will be 3.2. So can we find Bt? Therefore, what is Bt? 3.2 into delta F. Just check out how much will this be. Delta F was given as 75K. So 3.2 into 75 kilo. How much would that be?
And 240 kilo.
How much? 240. Yeah?
240 kilo. Yeah, ma'am.
Yeah. 240 kilohertz. So what was the problem with both these methods? This Carson's rule would underestimate the bandwidth, right? Whereas universal curve would overestimate the bandwidth. So usually we try to choose a bandwidth which is in between both or approximately the average of both. You say, therefore, the FM radio transmission bandwidth can be 180 plus 240 by 2 approximately. How much would we get this as? 80
210.
210 kilohertz. And they use standard FM radio uses a bandwidth of 200 kilohertz. They found that 200 kilohertz would be quite sufficient for transmission of FM signals. So all your FM radio channels which you hear to regularly, each channel requires a bandwidth of 200 kilohertz. Okay, please remember this. The standard FM radio transmission uses a bandwidth of 200 kilohertz in each channel. So I think we are done with spectrum and bandwidth. I think since there's not no much time to go to the the generation of FM, we can proceed with some 1 or 2 problems. Okay. This is one problem. Please read through the problem. Determine the bandwidth occupied by the FM wave with modulating frequency 15 kilohertz and frequency deviation 75 kilohertz if the amplitude of the modulating signal is decreased by a factor of 5 and its frequency is decreased by a factor of 3. What is the new bandwidth? Anyway, this is quite simple. You can list what is given. What are the things that are given? FM, Bandwidth occupied by FM wave you are supposed to find. The message frequency he says is 15 kilohertz. Delta F is 75 kilohertz. And using this, can we find the bandwidth? How do we find the bandwidth? Bandwidth is 2 into 1 plus beta into FM. Can I find beta using these two? Yes or no?
Yes, ma'am.
What is beta? It is delta
Delta
F
F by
by
FM.
FM. How much would this be? 75 by 15 is 5. Substitute that 2 into 1 plus 5 into 15. How much would this be?
180.
180, ma'am.
Okay, the same as last. 180 kilohertz. Fine. Now what should you do? Now you have to decrease what? Let's say the amplitude, okay, A2 I'll call. Amplitude is decreased by a factor of 5. A1 is the amplitude of the original signal. A2 is the amplitude of the new signal. It gets decreased by a factor of 5, and frequency of the second message is frequency of first message decreased by a factor of 3. Using these two conditions, you are supposed to find what is the new bandwidth. What is the new value of bandwidth? How do I do this? Any idea? What can I use? Tell me one equation where the amplitude will come into picture. Or can I write beta in terms of amplitude? What is delta F? What is the expansion for delta F? All of you have forgotten. What is delta F?
Ma'am, it will be KF into the amplitude.
Yeah, KF into AM divided by FM. If you write like this, then your amplitude can come. Here I can say AM2, AM1. Okay. So beta 1 will be KF into AM1 by FM1. Right. So beta 1 should be KF into AM1 by FM1. This KF remains a constant for a given frequency modulator. Okay. This KF value will not change. And similarly, beta 2 can be written as KF into AM2 divided by FM2. Is this okay? So, if I want to find the value of, we don't know AM1 or FM1, AM2 or FM2, but we know the values of what? The ratios we know. So what I'll do, I'll substitute here KF into, what is AM2 in relation with AM1? AM1 by 5. Yes or no? AM2 is AM1 decreased by 5 times, and FM2 is FM1 decreased 3 times. So what will happen to this beta 2 in relation to beta 1? We can see. What will this become? 3 goes on the top, 5 below. KF AM1 by FM1. Is this right? Please see whether I'm simplifying
Yes,
correctly.
ma'am.
And what is this?
Yes, ma'am.
3 by 5 into beta 1. Yes or no? KF AM by AM1 by FM1 is nothing but beta 1. So beta 2 is 3 by 5 times beta 1. And do I know the value of beta 1?
Yes, ma'am. 5.
Yes, we found beta 1 as 5. So because beta 1 was 5, beta 2 would be 3 by 5 into 5, or beta 2 value would be 3. So with this, you are supposed to find the new bandwidth, BT new, or BT2 if you want, you can call. It is again 2 into 1 plus beta 2 into FM2 I should take. See, all what we had done before was for the actual signal. Then he says that there is a new signal where amplitude would decrease by 5 times and the frequency of the message would be decreased 3 times. Now you find the new bandwidth. So to find that only, we have used this relation. We have found beta 2 in terms of beta 1. We found what is beta 2 in terms of beta 1, and since we know beta 1, we could find beta 2 as 3. Now all you need to do is substitute 1 plus 3. And what is FM2?
15K by 3.
5 kilo.
Yes, it would be 15 by 3 or 5 kilo. The same here we have FM2 is FM1 by 3. So this would turn out to be 5 kilo. Tell me how much is this?
40 kilo, ma'am.
40K. So I hope you are able to understand. In this problem, all what they'll usually ask this type of problem for 4 to 6 marks. So if here both are decreased, there can be a chance where one will decrease and the other will increase. If one of the factors decreases and the other increases, even then you will be doing it using the same logic. Is this clear? Any doubts with this?
No.
Okay. So if there are no doubts, then we'll move on to the next problem. Okay, we have one here. This problem looks lengthy, but it is quite simple to solve. Please read through the problem. A carrier wave is frequency modulated with a signal of frequency FM and amplitude AM. Determine the value of beta or modulation index for which the carrier component of the complete FM signal reduces to 0. People are joining now. All people for the sake of attendance. Okay. So from the beginning it was 58 and suddenly it has increased to 60 now. Anyway. Okay, I lost touch of the problem. So what are you supposed to do? There is a frequency modulated signal with frequency FM and amplitude AM, I think. You're supposed to determine value of beta or modulation index for which the carrier component of the complete FM signal reduces to 0. Okay. So when carrier component of the complete FM signal reduces to 0, you should find out first time. And later on, we'll read the second part. We'll do this first. Anyhow, we have to come back. There is a hint given from Bessel function table. The values of J, where and all I'll get J naught of beta as 0. You're going to get J naught of beta as 0 at beta is equal to 2.44 for the first time, 5.5 second time, 8.65 third time, so on. So what am I supposed to do here? For the first time, I'm supposed to find. You say the carrier component. See, I hope you remember that Bessel waveform, like this it was. Here, this is J naught of beta, right? This becomes 0 for the first time at value of beta. This is your beta axis. When beta was 2.44, it is passing through 0 first time. Here when beta is 5.5 for the second time, when beta is 8.65 third time, so on. So this is your Bessel function. From the table you get these values and it is given. Okay. And the question asked is, you should find the value of beta or modulation index for which the carrier component of the complete FM signal reduces to 0. Naturally, the carrier component will reduce to 0 whenever this J naught of beta. Do you remember the FM equation? We know that SFM of T has AC J naught of beta cos omega Ct plus AC J1 of beta into cos omega C plus omega M and minus cos omega C minus omega M into T. I have combined two terms here, plus AC J2 of beta cos omega C plus 2 omega M plus cos omega C minus 2 omega M into T, and so on. I'm just showing the 5 terms which we wrote when we drew the spectrum. He is telling us to find the value of beta when the carrier component becomes 0. So among all this represents your carrier component. This is the only component in the equation of FM which has only the carrier frequency omega C, right? So only this has carrier component, or this is at the carrier frequency omega C. So for this component, when it becomes 0, that's what he is asking you to find. Find the value of beta at this point. And that point beta is this. From the Bessel function table, you will say, okay, you just write one sentence. The carrier component becomes 0. Carrier component becomes 0 for the first time when beta is equal to 2.44. When beta is equal to 2.44. Okay. Okay, let's read the second part of the question now. In a certain experiment with message frequency 1 kilohertz and increasing amplitude starting from 0. What does this mean? The signal is increasing starting from 0 means it is a sine wave, not cosine. Okay. So it is found that the carrier component of the FM wave is reduced to 0 for the first time at amplitude AM is equal to 2 volts. What is the frequency sensitivity of the modulator? What is the value of the amplitude for which the carrier component reduces to 0 for the second time? Okay, he is asking us to find the frequency sensitivity, and so here given message frequency is 1 kilohertz and message is a sine wave. You are supposed to find the frequency sensitivity of this modulator when beta is reduced to, when carrier is reduced to 0 for the first time. Which is at beta is equal to 2.44. When beta is 2.44, the carrier reduces to 0 for the first time. And you see, how do you find KF? What is beta? Beta is KF AM divided by FM. Here AM is also given. the amplitude was 2 volts. When he says when the carrier became 0, when the carrier became 0 for the first time, the amplitude was 2 volts. Okay. So this is 2, this is 1 kilohertz. You have kf into 2 volts by 1 kilohertz. And what is beta? We found from the Bessel function table that beta would be 2.44 when the carrier would go to 0 for the first time. This point. Carrier has gone to 0 for first time when beta was 2.44. The amplitude of the signal was 2 volts. The frequency of the signal is 1 kilohertz. You are supposed to find what is kf. Do it. Jayant, you have any doubt?
1.22 kilo.
Okay. So this turns out to be 1.22 kilo. What is the unit of kf? Hertz per volt.
Hertz by volt.
Yeah. It is 1.22 kilohertz per volt. Okay. So this is the first part of the answer. He says, for the first time when it goes, what is the frequency sensitivity of the modulator? We have found that. In the end, he asks, what does he ask? What is the value of amplitude for which the carrier component reduces to 0 for the second time? Here this AM stands for amplitude. Okay. What is the amplitude for which this AM, for which the carrier component reduces to 0 for second time? So what is the value of beta when the carrier component becomes 0 for the second time? From the
5.5.
from the function table, we got that value as 5.5. You say C of t reduces to 0 for second time at beta is equal to 5.5. This is from table. From the table at beta is equal to 5.5, this reduces to 0 for second time, which means I am supposed to find AM here. Here beta 2 is kf into AM2 by FM. FM is not changing as far as I see. So your kf also we know. We have found kf. Beta we know. 5.5 is equal to 1.22 into AM2 divided by 1 kilohertz. Find out what is this amplitude. What would be the amplitude of the message for the carrier to...
No, that is 1.22 kilo, the numerator.
Yeah, into 10 power 3. Right, you're right. So this kilo cancels in the numerator and denominator. I'll have 5.5 divided by 1.22 as AM2. How much is that? How much is AM2? Around 4 something, no? 5.5?
Around 4.5.
Yeah, 5.5 divided by 1.2. Something nearing to
4.5.
Yeah. So actually this is quite simple. Either they should give you the value of the Bessel functions, okay, where from which you will know the values of beta like this as hint, or they have to give you the Bessel function table. If you want to have a look at the Bessel function table, it is there behind your textbook. Simon Haken book. Actually, I have sent your actual textbook link also I had sent to you on the Google Classroom. I don't know how many of you have downloaded that. Anyway, even in the old textbook, it's there, even in the new one. Those of you who have that, it's there in the classroom. Please download from the link. The new textbook also, which is given to you. There you can see in the end that Bessel function table. You can have a look at it just to get an idea how to compute. But in the exam till now, they haven't asked us to take tables. They usually give the values. Okay. Any doubts with this? Do you have any more class now? Do you have the class at 11:30 or so?
No, ma'am.
So shall I finish one more problem? I'll just give you a basic idea, another 10 minutes max, and wind up. Is it okay? See, I had listed this. Anyway, this you can do it at home. I'll just give you an idea how this is done. Okay. This last problem, please go through. Okay. Just see here. A 50 megahertz unmodulated carrier delivers 100 watt of power to a load. The carrier is frequency modulated by 1 kilohertz sine wave, causing a maximum frequency deviation of 6 kilohertz. This FM signal is now coupled to an ideal bandpass filter with center frequency 50 megahertz and variable bandwidth. You have to determine the power delivered to the load when the filter bandwidth is so and so. Anyway, to do this power delivered to the load, we need to actually find the power delivered by an FM signal. So I think I'll take up this problem on Friday afternoon, because I'll show you the power delivered also, and in an FM wave. Or if you can, I'll just give you a clue how to do it. See, you have the FM equation, AC summation n is equal to minus infinity to plus infinity Jn of beta cos omega c plus n omega m into t. This is your standard FM equation. To find the power delivered by this equation, you take different values of n. You take different values of n. Yes, Manasa? Any doubts? Okay. So you just assume we had written the equation with these values of n. Okay. So you just have to substitute. And how would you find the power delivered by any signal? The peak amplitude divide by √2 to get the RMS value whole square divided by the resistance. So the peak magnitude of any signal by √2 will give you, this will give you the RMS voltage. Peak voltage by √2 gives you RMS voltage. Square of the RMS voltage divide by RL is a measure of power in the signal. So each component here you have to consider. Okay. Try to substitute for n and consider each component magnitude and use this. And if you use the third property of Bessel function, you will be able to find the total power in FM signal, which would be AC square by 2RL. You will be able to get this. But I want the equation showing the individual powers. You have AC square by 2RL plus AC J naught of beta whole square by 2RL, so on. You will have multiple components. You can just try out this at home. We'll do it in the next class. Okay. So please answer your attendance. It's actually very simple. You follow the same method as AM, you can do it.